In your work folder, you will find an image called 713_3573124.jpg from our friends at PhotoSpin. If you don't like that big long number, just look for a bunch of elephants and open them up. What we're going to talk about is something we've actually used in the last 2 lessons, and that's adjustment layers. But I want to talk a little bit more on how you can control things, and also I want to give you an homage, I think that's how you say that, to an older technique that's destructive, but it's something you might use. Just because we have adjustment layers doesn't mean everything else gets thrown out. You don't throw the baby away with the bathwater, as they say. Over here we have background and we have our images. If I come up to the word image on the pull-down menu and go down to adjustments, I have adjustments here, but they're different, and this is what you want to remember. If you use them over here, they're non-destructive separate layers. If you use them over here, they're destructive. But there is a technique you can use called fading if you want to adjust it after the fact. So let's do something really aggressive here to prove a point. Let's go into hue and saturation. Now you'll notice it doesn't come up as a panel over here. It comes up as a floating dialog box, which is something we've had for 20 years. Now you do have some presets, or you can just come over here and just have some fun and whack away at it. You know, change the hue. All right, I like that. Saturation, and again we're just doing this to prove a point. Lightness or darkness. Now say you have some method to your madness here and you are, I don't know, kind of happy with this, so you click OK. Understand, you have physically changed the original image, but there's one thing you can do right now, and it must be done right now. You can go up to the word edit on the pull down menu and you will notice you have a fade, and it says fade hue and saturation. This is the only time you're going to have access to this. If you do anything to the image, begin painting on it or doing something else, that will go away. So this has got to be planned. You go in, you destructively edit the image, knowing full well you're going to come back out here and make some changes. And if you click here, you have opacity and a blending mode. Now we'll talk about blending modes later, but the opacity, I don't want it so intense. You can come here and begin lowering down the intensity. Now, if you go all the way, it's going to take the image back to the way it was. And if you come up, you know, maybe you want 40% or 41, whatever. Click OK. You've made the changes. Now, if I continue on and do other stuff, that won't be available. So let's do this. Let's go to this button here. I am in the Essentials workspace, and this is my history, which I love. If we come back out here again, we can go back to the point where we started. So we're going to get right back here again. The better way to do this, in my opinion, the smarter way to work, is using these adjustment layers. You can do the exact same thing. The difference being is if 2 months from today you decide you don't like it, you can get rid of it. If we come up here to these buttons, or we come down here to the half moon icon, choose hue and saturation again, or whichever one you want. We create a separate adjustment layer, non-destructively editing this layer, and we control it up here. Now, I showed you the defaults before. If you want to try one of these, you can. How about old style? What's old style? Anytime you want to see a before and after, you can either click here to turn it on or off, or you can click over here to achieve the same goal. If you want to get rid of the entire thing, wish you'd never done it, you can click here, and that would delete that layer, or you can delete it over here. This button says I want to reset, kind of put it back to the way it was, and we could start all over again. The cool thing about this is, no matter what we do to the image, 2 weeks later we come back and say, gee, I wish I had not done that. We can either click here and just get rid of it, or you can double click right over here and it'll reopen and you can start all over again. Doesn't make sense to do something destructively when you have this control. And later on, when we start controlling these with masks, they become even more valuable. Although there may be times when what you need to do to an image must be done destructively, in most cases, I would suggest that using adjustments is a smarter way to go.